ask our superintendent to lead us in a pledge and invocation.
Just stand with me, please. Heavenly Father, as we come to you, we always come to you just thanking you for the guidance and the wisdom that you bestow upon us each and every night as we deliberate about our students and our staff. Lord, we thank you for being here in Levy County. Lord, we continue to lift those that have lost loved ones recently, those that have been so closely affected with our school systems. We lift their families up. We also lift those up that have lost loved ones due to illness, COVID, different things, and just pray for your comfort, your peace, and your strength for them. We ask all these things in your name we pray. Amen.
Amen.
You'll address the flag. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Mr. Superintendent.
Yes.
Are there any changes to the agenda to be
Yes, Mr.
presented?
Chairman.
Yes,
On
ma'am.
page 2, D1, we delete. It was already on the previous agenda.
Any other changes?
No.
All righty. I will entertain a motion to adopt the agenda.
I move to adopt the agenda. Second.
A motion and a second. Any further discussion? All those in favor, please say aye. All righty. We'll now move into our public comments. Well, welcome everybody here tonight. It is at this time, you're more than welcome to address the board with any non-agenda item. I'll remind you, we really can't vote on any non-agenda item, but we do enjoy hearing from people, concerned parents and concerned teachers. If anybody would like to address us at this time, please feel free to do so. I would ask, as a favor, let's keep it limited to about 5 minutes, just because we have a lot to go through tonight.
I'm Roseanne. I'm from Yankee Town School. Ashley, I wanted to thank you for coming out to the school and coming into our class, because it was nice to see you, seeing a board member out there in our class. Chris, I knew you were out there too, but I didn't see you.
Yes, ma'am.
Did you come into our class?
So I stopped by. So yes, ma'am. So you guys were out. So
Okay. Okay. We were just wondering, because I knew you
That's
were on
right.
grounds, but I hadn't seen you, and I really wanted you to come into the classroom when the kids were in there and just kind of mingle and
Yes,
see
ma'am.
what's going on. There's other parents here that reached out to me. They have concerns. They wanted to voice their opinion. That's the reason why they're here, besides to thank you guys for coming out to the school. Tina?
That's it.
Yeah.
Hi, my name is Mary Nicholson, and I have been driving the school bus for Yankee Town School for 23 years without taking one day off. I am driving the second generation now. I also love my job and love and care about each one of my kids. The reason that I am standing before y'all is to let y'all know how we are being treated over at the school. And it's very hard for me to come up here before them because of retaliation. Because every time you go against her, she's always retaliating against us drivers, anybody. But anyway, I just want to read this so I'm not so nervous.
Okay.
Okay, as part of the end of the day bus routine, as drivers arrived at school in the afternoon around 2 p.m. and proceeded to the front office to get the end of the day reports. From the front office staff, the end of the day reports include all changes of transportation. Children may be going home as car riders instead of on the bus, who may be riding a different bus home than they came in on, and who is staying for after-school activities. At this time, the bus drivers also check the roster to see which children signed out early due to sickness or appointments. This procedure has been in effect for a number of years with no complaints. On Wednesday, August 19th of 2020, a student got away from the teacher while they were waiting for Tina to get back from dropping the daycare students off at the daycare. Gary had called Tina Thursday to talk to her. When Tina and I got to the school Thursday, August 20th, 2020, we went into the front office to get our notes and check to see who went home and which of our students that did not come to school. so that if we have extra riders, we know what seat will be available to them. On our way back to our buses, we stopped by the principal's office to talk to Danae about Tina not getting back in a timely manner from dropping the daycare kids off. Tina makes an early run to the daycare with those children and then returns to the school for her regular students. While there, she asked about a pre-K student that ran off. And I asked, Tina has, at the time, she had some problems going on with her husband being sick. And so she didn't think to ask this, why Tina and Danae were sitting there talking. You know, I kept saying to myself, Tina asked where the teachers were. Well, Tina wasn't asking, so I piped up and asked, where were the teachers? Well, Danae goes like that and says, Mary, that's enough. Mary, that's enough. And so while there, she asked about a pre-K student that ran off. Mary asked a legitimate question, where were the teachers? To which the principal threw her hand in the air and said, Mary, that is enough. Furthermore, there are layers of locked gates now, so we aren't sure why this incident was blamed on us. We would like to know why she did not come to Tina first to discuss the matter before taking it to Gary. Plus, drivers are not responsible for the kids until they are on the buses. On Friday, August 21st, me and Tina, were informed by Mr. Masters, transportation supervisor, that due to security concerns, we can no longer enter any buildings at YTS other than to use the restroom, and the office staff would deliver our paperwork to us. The nearest restroom is in the kitchen, and we are able to access by buzzing the cafeteria back door if the cafeteria staff is still there. Keep in mind, we are fingerprinted and have a background check done on us before we are hired. We think this is an excuse because this is what Danae wants, and Gary is going to do whatever she wants. Why no security concerns in the past? Yankeetown School has 3 buses that pick up and return children. Those buses each have a bus driver, with one of them having an aide that rides the bus also. When we were informed of the new rule, we asked the bus driver and aide from the 3rd bus, and they said they were not told of any of this information. The next school day, they were asked again if they had been told. They said they were informed by the teacher that came out and gave us our notes. We feel as though we have been banned from YTS for no apparent reason other than the principal does not like us. She has never addressed any of our concerns with us. Mr. Masters did not allow us to share our side of anything that was used to make this decision. The principal even told us we are not part of the team. She never speaks to us when our paths cross unless we are looking for a response to referrals that we wrote up. This happened on the 5th day of school, with the last school year being cut short, and the fact that there are numerous new teachers. We try to meet whoever we can to help everyone get acclimated to the new procedures that are everywhere, including on our buses.
I don't want to interrupt you, but we're at about 5 minutes.
Ken, you want to come up and finish reading?
Yeah,
We're at 6.
we're at 6.
You want to come finish reading for me?
Mr.
May I give you all a copy?
Mr. Chair, if I can.
It'd be great to have a copy, and the only reason I ask this is because I don't know how many of y'all want to talk, and we don't want to rob anybody the opportunity to talk, so we always kind of limit it to 5 minutes.
Well, can I get another person to finish reading?
All I was going to add here, so is I've got the chain of command, so when there's issues, or things that arise like that, some of the things that are being addressed have already been investigated and handled, so with the process. And so if there's new things that are going on, so would definitely welcome the opportunity to hear those type of things, so going forward.
So what does that mean?
You're aware of what she's already
Yes,
starts, and y'all are working on that as.
yes, sir. So, and a lot of the things, and I won't, though, but I'll speak to you that, new gates, Stoneman Douglas that went into place, and there's things that were put into place. So, and trying to make sure. So we evaluate processes across the district everywhere to make sure that we're doing the best that we can. That's the most efficient way to handle things. So, and I welcome, and Miss Mary and I have talked, yes. So, and things have been addressed. So, and moving forward.
Yes, they've been addressed, but they have not been resolved.
He does the day-to-day running of the schools,
Yes, sir.
not us. But we will gladly hear you. I'm not trying to shorten you up,
Oh, I
not tell you that we don't want to hear it. But if it's already been addressed, and he's working on, what was the word you used? Resolved, working on a resolution to it, that's what's going to happen.
Can I get you to read my letter?
We'll gladly read your letter. We'll gladly read it. And we want a copy of it so that we have time to read it.
Okay.
Okay?
All right, thank you.
Thank you. Is there anyone else that would like to address the board?
I would.
Sure.
If you'll come to the podium.
Yes, sir.
Please.
Yes, sir.
Hi, my name is Chrissy Kurtz. Thank you for listening to me. I really appreciate it. Pretty much a lot of the problem is my daughter started in Yankeetown School 4 years ago, and it was an A grade school. I met Miss Rose. We started 4-H. I mean, we're in the middle of nowhere, right? Everybody knows that. Our kids have nothing to do. So we do our best to try to promote FFA and 4-H and everything, correct? Ms. Hurst has taken everything away from us. The first year, it was great. My kids got into showing rabbits, showing pigs. I mean, Danae was great. She helped me out. The second year, it started to decline from there. She started problems with my daughter on cyberbullying, girls accusing of my child of doing stuff. So I contacted the school to talk to Ms. Hurst in regards to the whole cyberbullying incident. She refused to talk to me. She put the front lady, Miss Francie, on the phone. And she says, if you can provide me with proof that your daughter did this, please bring it back into me and then she'll talk to you. By the end of the day, I got my proof in there. And I said, I would like to talk to Ms. Hurst. I have my proof. She sent Candy Prescott, the guidance counselor, or who she was at the time, out to talk to me. I have had multiple problems with Ms. Hurst. She never talks to me. She never says anything. This whole COVID going on, I believe the principal is supposed to contact you and let you know what's going on. I have not heard anything. And if you say anything to the principal or you say anything to the school board and they hear about it, Ms. Hurst, if you're not part of her clique of teachers and you retaliate or you say something against her, she will retaliate against you. My daughter is seeing it this year. My daughter has, she's 11, 12 years old. They're gonna talk to their friends, they're gonna say stuff. If she says anything, her teacher will look at her and says, oh, well, I think you need attention, Kaylee. Why don't you come up to the front of the class and discuss with us what's going on? I think it is very wrong for a teacher to point out a child in the middle of a classroom and pull them to the front and ask them what they were talking about. I understand taking a student to the side. That's one thing, okay, after class, or even contacting the parent saying, hey, Ms. Kurtz, your daughter has a problem with talking during class. Can you please have a conversation with her? No, we don't hear anything. Our children come home, they complain to us about the teachers. We cannot say anything to the school because if we say something to the school and one of the wrong teachers hear it, then the teachers are gonna come after your child. They treat them with disrespect. Ms. Hurst has no respect. Ms. Watson has no respect. There are multiple teachers at that school that need to be put in line. And like I said, I don't blame you guys. I'm super happy that we have a new superintendent because I have a feeling he will listen to us. And I have never been to a school board meeting before, so I don't know if any of you are new, but again, thank you for listening to me. And I just hope that y'all can possibly do something about it because it was a grade A school and I love the school. Now I'm to the point that I'm tempted to take my child out of that school because we have lost all of our good teachers due to Ms. Hurst, treating them disrespectfully and not letting them teach their class. So another example, my kid for social studies, on her report card, she has Candy Prescott as her social study teacher when Miss Dormany is her social study teacher. She's missing, who is it?
Miss Young, well, Miss Hamlin now is the social studies holds the same class.
Which we have changed teachers multiple times. I think they are now on their 4th or 5th teacher for for the year, their first, I think their progress report had no grade whatsoever on it. And their report card had Ds. I think 59 is what every single kid in the class had. So we can get no explanation to why our grades are not put in Skyward, why our grades are not on our report cards or our progress reports. So we just need to get to the bottom of why this school is not organized like it used to be. For some reason, the top chain of command is not doing their job. Us parents have to do it. And honestly, we are full of our jobs. We do our daily work with our children. And I understand it's not the teachers' jobs to teach them. It's to help them. And we have to help them as well. But we can't help our students if we don't know what's going on. We don't know what's learning, what our kids are doing at the time, because our teachers can't even give us the answers. So that's all I have to say. Thank you for listening to me. I appreciate it.
Thank you. Anyone else?
Yes. Excuse me, I'm limping from right here with my back. Anyways, my name is Robert Darwin. I have two children, Nicole and Cody Darwin in the school. We, older parents, right, we decided to have children. We checked out, moved into the area, checked out the school. Like she'd sold. We found out it was Class A school. Ended up, hey, this is where our kids are gonna go. Got into the school. Well, first incident we had was, this is with Mrs. Hurst. I'm gonna hand you a letter because it has the school board on there, and this letter is about absentees. If you look at the date, it's on the 19th.
Yes, sir.
All right, at this time it was COVID, okay, it has never even been mentioned. There was a sickness going on through the school. We get our children well, next thing to the doctor, get the absence, right, back into school. Week or so later, 2 weeks maybe a day, two, back home, sick. Found out after everything, we went into the emergency room, found out that we had COVID, but it wasn't at that time COVID. I had an severe upper respiratory infection. My wife the same way, and my children. All doctor notes, okay? Not this time it's called COVID. But that letter, if you read it, I refused to sign it, okay? Period. They were excused absences from the doctor. Is that not excused? Or does that count as absence? I'm asking.
I believe it's an excused absence when you have a
Okay. All right, this year. Again, we have an outbreak of COVID in, was it kindergarten or first grade? Okay. We get sent, well, actually it's 6:30 at night, we get a text or voicemail saying that our children have been affected or contacted with COVID, and they ended up saying that our kid is going to be quarantined for 10 days. All right, this is 6 days into it. They were notified on, I'm checking notes here, the 4th, and I think we got it, what is it, 6:30 at night, our children may have been exposed to COVID-19. December 4th, did not let us know until 6 days after the fact. Okay, at this time, we decided, and the message to us was that if our children, if we wanted, we could take it to the doctor and see and have them tested for COVID. Well, we did so, right? Took it into our primary doctor. He told us that no, they didn't have COVID, but they had sniffles and cough. Well, we were told that if they had a cough, that they could not return after the 10 days. That hold it up. So he said, well, there's only two or 3 days left of that. He says, I'm not willing to send them back into the school with the sniffles and all that if there's a COVID outbreak, because they are more acceptable to that. So he gave us a note. She ended up saying that they're not excused. When we got our report cards and our follow-up, she tells us that none of those absences are excused and that she's coming down. Here's that report. there. That was when the letter was done. Now, these all have doctor excuses. All have, all pediatricians, they all have the excuses. I believe I have these here.
Is your doctor's notes?
Yep. I would like to be explained to me why they're not being counted, why that's being counted as access.
Would you
And that's come from Ms. Hurst.
So what I would say on that is, this is public comment period, so you can share information with the board. It's usually my advice that the board doesn't try to get into a back and forth and answer questions on the spot,
That's fine.
but just take another 20 seconds or so, 30 seconds to.
All the
Oh,
stuff we got to take on
these are
under
all
advisement.
separate. I'm sorry, sir. These are all separate items. There's no way that I can cover all these items that I have in front of me in 5 minutes. They are all separate, and I'll have 5 minutes for each one of them.
No, sir.
No,
Why
sir.
not?
No, sir.
Why not?
We'll
They're
allow
all
each
separate.
speaker
They're
5
all,
minutes.
they're all
Not for
separate.
each.
Well, then
each thing.
then I'll hand you my whole packet.
We'll
Or whatever I
gladly,
need to hand this to.
We'll
You go
gladly-
through it because there's all documentation here.
we will
And the
gladly.
person that is involved in
Sir.
this is Ms. Hurst.
Sir,
It's Ms. Hurst.
sir,
What?
I am the chairman of this board, so
I
when
know
I
you are.
speak up, you have to stop. Yes, sir. Now listen, sir, we will take a copy of that and we will gladly take it under advisement. We want to hear you, but we
Well,
limit people to 5 minutes because everybody has the opportunity to speak. And I want to take that, but you have to let me speak
how am I
to
gonna
you to
cover
tell you.
that in 5 minutes? Okay.
I cannot
Now,
answer that.
I'm gonna ask you, did I have a way to object to your 5-minute program?
You can
You said,
apply.
you said I had 5 minutes, okay, because you didn't want everybody to speak. Apparently, I'm the
No, sir.
last
No,
speaker
sir.
here.
No,
Yes,
sir.
you did. What did
No,
you say?
sir.
Mr.
I did not
Mr.
say.
Darwin, I've got your wife's phone number, so can I call you tomorrow? So.
Hold on,
we'll
Mr.
talk
Superintendent.
about this.
Yes.
Mr.
okay, sir.
Superintendent,
So that would
this
be-
man has just said something that I did not say. I did not
You
say I
said
didn't want to
that
hear from
You wanted
everyone.
to limit the conversations to 5 minutes on the speakers because we wanted to make sure everybody could speak.
Everybody has the opportunity to speak.
Right, now,
For
is
5
there anybody here that needs to hear you speaking?
Yes, there are
No,
other
I'm
things
not.
besides this that has to
Oh,
be
I think
addressed
this
tonight.
needs, I
Mr.
think
Darwin.
this needs to be really pressed
Sir?
on and covered.
We will take your stuff and we will gladly look at it, but we limit our speakers at this time to 5 minutes because we have other things that we have to address on this board. Agenda items that we have to vote on. This is stuff that all we can do is
Sir, I
take under
understand that. I really
advisement.
do. I understand it.
Yes,
All
sir.
I am saying to you is that there is no way that what's going on over there and what I have in front of me could be covered in 5 minutes.
Sir,
And I wish I had the right to object to that. You
Sir.
did not give me that right.
Sir.
You just said unlimited.
sir, we will gladly
Thank
take
you
it
for your time.
and we thank you for coming.
Thank you.
Is there
I'll be
anyone
back.
else?
I need to write those.
If you would like us to copy it and keep it, we'll gladly take a copy and keep it.
I'll talk to this
To
gentleman
review.
right here.
Thank you.
Work. Is there anyone else that would like to address the board at this time? Very good. We will move on to our school presentation with Mr. Curtis Gauss. If you need to step out, I'll tell you what, we're going to take like a 5-minute recess to allow y'all time to clear out.
First of all, thank you for the opportunity to come to address the board and Mr. Coward. As I told you in the fall, anytime I get an opportunity to brag on my staff, I'm gonna jump at it. So, a couple things. I do want to apologize that it's taken us so long to get you the shirts. They were complete. However, they've been sitting on my counter on my on my file cabinet for a while. So, a couple things. The program that we wanted to talk about was our data relating to discipline reduction this year. First thing is, when I took over as the principal of Bronson Middle High, I sent out a Google form for the teachers to provide me input. A little bit it was about them, but one thing that I wanted them to tell me was, policies that they had that they wanted addressed. If you look at the PowerPoint, that's kind of where we got the start the year off. Multiple teachers and staff members mentioned that the discipline inconsistencies in discipline and the way we use our BAMA program. Wanted to be more consistent with that. So my administrative staff met prior to the teachers coming back to discuss the things that the teachers had said in their survey. So one thing that I wanted to impress upon them was my, the way I wanted things to happen is, consistency across the board. So for example, when student A goes into a classroom, the expectations in that classroom are the same as somebody else. So a consistent set of expectations across the school. Dean Miller and Dean Whittington organized the development of our classroom matrix. They asked for teacher volunteers during pre-planning to provide input. We asked for a couple of teachers that had a kind of a rise in their discipline in their classroom. So that would kind of give them an opportunity to, express the things that they were having trouble with and those kinds of things. So the committee worked and developed common language, common practice across the school. There is, so the committee came up with what they call the classroom behavior matrix for this year. And basically it set a common language across the campus on behaviors that should be handled in the classroom, behaviors that should be sent to administration, those kind of things. So, and then they talked about ways to handle those minor classroom disruptions that not only disrupt learning, but also provides additional stress for teachers too, because, all the little things that happen in a 6th grade classroom or a senior classroom can really, provide additional undue stress for teachers as well. So if you go back, Morgan, to the, and we linked this into our PBS program as well. So not only were we talking about ways to combat those minor things that happen in classrooms, but also ways to praise students as we went as well. This bar graph here, I know it's very hard to read, but at the end, after the first semester, we, as an administrative team, we discussed the reduction, the feel of the school. So we, everybody felt like things were going well. So if you notice, in semester 1 of 2019, the school had 386 referrals. And then in semester 1 of 2020, we were down over 100 referrals. So 181 this fall as well. We had also talked about there, obviously having less students in class makes a difference as well. But, now that we're, well a month into, the second semester, we're still feeling that same thing. So it's going well. If you look at the, and this chart here is the one thing that we wanted to talk mostly about is the students that were sent to BAMA last year was 126 in the fall, and we were down to 32. So teachers were taking an active role in making sure that their classrooms were running smoothly, rather than a lot of times they were just sending kids out. For me, as a principal, it's my job to protect that instructional time. So if you look at the instructional time gained or not lost, okay, the 281 hours. So for every student that was sent out, or for every time there were, some students sent out multiple times, obviously, 281 hours of instructional time was lost last year and 51 lost. So, almost over 230 hours of instruction was gained based on the fact that we've, normalized the referral. So the two referrals that we, talked about the teachers wanting to make sure that we were combating would be minor classroom disruptions. And as you can see, those went down from 71 to 33, and insubordination went down from 46 to 16. So the fact that students, were being, things were being addressed in the classroom, with immediate feedback, and then also praise, we felt like has led to, the reduction in insubordination from students as well. So, Mr. Miller's here. If he'd like to, say a few words, or, this is something, it's not mine. This is something that I've challenged the staff to take on, and they've really
That was
done
my
a good
question.
job.
Did they have train? I mean, those numbers, that's crazy. I mean, is it all based on just a matrix of handle? There's a fine line between classroom management as part of the teacher's job and saying you're disrupting 95% of my class, go.
Yeah, absolutely.
So, I mean,
and I think that has allowed, the fact that we have, kind of defined those things.
Great.
That has allowed Mr. Miller and Ms. Whittington and myself to work with those individual teachers who have a little more trouble. And then also we have been able to shift Mr. Miller and Ms. Whittington to help with counseling, because we've certainly had an uptick in the need for mental health counseling and having, so they have played an active role in, trying to work with students on what those underlying behaviors, what those underlying causes of the behavior is versus, this is what you did and, you're going to go to ISS, you know what I mean? So it pays to have people in those positions that are willing to take the time to find out those underlying currents of what's going on. So.
For sure, because right now when you have some kids that are quarantining 3-4 times a year, and then they have a minor, I'm not saying they shouldn't be, and then they're sent to ISS, and that's even more time out of the classroom. So I think this is great.
Mm-hmm. So, don't take away my ISS teacher though. We still need that. We still need that.
Mr. Gauss, what teachers did you help develop? So did you have a group that kind of came together to help kind of put this in place and kind of work through?
Yes, we concentrate on middle school teachers. Mr. Miller, can you help me with the teachers that helped? Mr. Basilero.
Mr. Basilero, Mr. Murphy, I think Mr. Myers may have been in there for a period of time. Myself.
Ms. Osteen was she in there as well?
I can't remember.
It was in the beginning of the year, so we apologize for not getting all of their names in there, but
it helped you create buy-in because they had their voice to be able to share with you their experience in the classroom.
Absolutely.
So, thank you very much.
This was something that they developed together, and that's what I want to, impress upon my staff that, it's not a top-down. We're, it's all in this together. So, any other questions?
I have one more question.
Sure.
You said a uniform, like every class had the same rules. Where does cell phone fall? I was trying to look.
Well, we're struggling with cell phones.
Yeah.
I had, every principal has their own philosophy. Unfortunately, that is, in my younger days, I fought that cell phone fight.
Right.
But I understand that it's a way of work. It's part of our lives now. So, my expectation is that it's while during class, it's put away and put up. We do want the teachers to be consistent with that. We're not there yet, but, we do provide them with the freedom that at lunch or in between classes and those kind of things. Because a lot of times, in my experience, when kids do get in trouble with cell phones, a lot of times it's the parents that are texting, it's text from parents or text from grandma or those kind of things. So, it's hard to discipline a kid when a parent's sending them texts and those kind of things. So that's certainly a struggle. So, struggle for adults, struggle for kids too.
Right.
So you're telling me a parent will send a text to a kid?
Well, they don't text them anymore now. I guess texting's an old, kind of old.
I do not know a parent that would do something like that right into the school.
But no, I'm certainly, pleased with with the buy-in that we've had so far and we certainly look for, positive things to continue to move in the future.
You did a pretty good job.
And by all means, wear your Bronson t-shirts proudly in your local area.
You'll feel better wearing one. Thank you, Mr. Couch. Ms. Rollins? Also, by the way, you called on Miller to remember stuff.
Yeah, sorry.
Yeah, that was a bad call on your part there.
Well, good evening. I'm going to be very brief. Just here to provide you with an update on where we are with ELA adoption. Since I saw you in December, we've been very busy, so I just want to give you an update and so you know where we are in that process. Early January, both our elementary and our secondary teams went to the NEFEC Instructional Materials Fair in Gainesville. We had great representation from all of our schools, really strong teams. Our adoption teams are awesome. And even in spite of all the quarantines and all the crazy going on, we still had every school represented. Every school got to go and listen to vendor presentations, ask questions, look through materials, all of that good stuff. And that allowed us to narrow down to what you see in front of you, which are our top 3 choices for elementary and secondary. That information got shared out to our school communities via Facebook, Remind. It's on our school board website. I'm actually going to have Mr. Bennett remind everybody how to get there, just so everybody knows in case you haven't had an opportunity yet to view the materials. It's not too late. If you go to the Levy County School District website and click on resources, it is under parent resources, and it's the first 2 links on the left-hand side. So it's not too late for parents, community members, anybody to take a look at those. It's still up there and running. We have links to get to the website with login information. There's also, when you log in, you can see overview videos and things like that that are really helpful for getting a good 30,000-foot view of the curriculum itself. So at the same time we shared that with the community, it got shared out at the school level. So we've been really housing things at the district level for the most part with the adoption team, but at that point, everything went to the schools. So every school got a sample of each one of those materials so teachers could have hands-on look, as well as all the links were shared with them as well. The teachers also got some video links and things like that that helps them narrow down their choices. So schools really spent time with presentations from the reading coaches, their adoption team members, and really just getting to dig in and look at things and make a decision for themselves. Schools just voted last week, so we'll have those results soon. But tonight, I was just here to give you an update and to open the floor for any public comment from anyone as far as any feedback from the community that you've gotten or received.
What feedback have you gotten from the community? Because I know it was out there and advertised. So
the only thing I've heard is I touched base with Ms. Clemency after watching your last board meeting and heard that she had gotten some, so I touched base with her, and she had 2 elementary parents that said on the list you'll see HMH or Houghton Mifflin Harcourt, that they really liked the look of that program. I heard that one other time from a Joyce Bullitt parent that touched base with their reading coach. Other than that, I haven't heard anything. So that's why I'm saying it's not too late for anybody to take a look and provide feedback. Even though our schools are already kind of finished making their decisions, it's still not too late for us to get that feedback from the community. So a great question. I wish I had gotten more, but if there's any public comment or questions.
And when's the vote final on that?
So the teachers voted. Tomorrow I'll present that vote to the assistant superintendent and the superintendent at our admin meeting. And then I'll be back to see you again on the 23rd, hopefully. Me or somebody who will stand in for me and present that result to you guys. So that then it'll open that 30-day window for anybody to contest. So hopefully we'll wrap this up March 23rd at your board meeting. So that's the goal.
Excellent. Thank you.
Any questions or anything you need from me?
Just comment,
Yes, sir.
and I'm not tech savvy, but I've seen more notices about this than I combined this year than I have in history of my time serving on the board. So.
I have to thank Ms. Lewis for that. I send her what I need and she make sure it gets out there. So we work well
It's
as a
out
team.
there.
We work well as a
It's
team
out there. That's
together.
good.
If I see it, it's out there.
Yeah, that's great. I'm really glad to hear that. And what I did task our reading coaches with is they're not necessarily the point person at their school for sharing it on the Facebook page, but I told them to have the person who was. So they took our school board posts and made sure it got reshared on the school Facebook pages too. So that really helps. So I'm glad to hear that. Thank you.
Mr. Chair, if I might take just a
Sure.
moment here. So Ms. Rollins, so periodically, so has our reading coaches here, and it's usually elementary in the morning and secondary in the afternoon. So, and just this process has flowed very smoothly with Ms. Rollins there and the amount of work. So I just want to give her kudos while she's here. So, and tell her thank you for her hard work in this
I
process.
appreciate that. I'm like Mr. Gauss though. It's the team that has surrounded me that's made it good. So our reading coaches are awesome. And we also got a really good adoption team assortment of elementary teachers and secondary teachers that took the process very seriously and really wanted to find the best curriculum for our schools. So I think we've done that. So I can't wait to present the results to you in a couple weeks. All right. Thank you.
ma'am.
Thank you.
Is she here?
Here she
Oh, there she comes.
All right.
Did you have doubts?
Well, you remember I called you a mule one time.
Well, that's true.
Yeah, you never know. There is no report. There's, our next item is CTE Month, and here to join us is the top mule in the joint, Carol Jones. I ain't gonna call her Du Bois.
Du Bois, yes, Du Bois. So, yes, it is CTE month, and it's always exciting to come before the board. And I'd like to say thank you to the superintendent, Mr. Chairman, and members of the board for allowing us to come in here tonight. Things are a little different this year, as we can all well imagine, trying to do career and technical education in the middle of a shutdown, in the middle of a pandemic. It's been a challenging year for everyone, but when you think about what we do in career and technical education, hands-on, the young ladies were talking a while ago about, the skills that they have to actually perform, working side by side and touching each other. I mean, it's just been a really crazy year. A lot of stress trying to get our students through the curriculum that we stopped in March, trying to get our curriculum, and then thinking about how we could get students in to do some industry certifications. That's pretty important. That counts for college credit. Principals think it's most important because it counts for points and the acceleration, but that's okay. We'll let them think that. But for employers, it's a totally different. It has totally different values. So, anyways, I think we were able to. We were pretty successful, honestly, in getting students in at the end of the year, during the summer, and then the state allowed us to continue to do industry certifications. And Mr. Myers, you may have to correct me, I want to say it was by like September 15th or the end of September. So we were testing students at the beginning of the school year that we had not really seen face-to-face, or let alone had in a lab to build a wall, to take an industry certification since February. Our principals, I will tell you, our administrators, our principals were engaged in helping us, encouraging students, calling students. Teachers were feeding them pizza in the summer to get them in there, just anything we could do. So because of that dedication, I will say we were able to come in at about, I think it was 192 industry certs. It's definitely 100 less than we had last year, but I think that's pretty commendable considering the conditions in which we were working. So this school year has been also interesting. Teachers worked really hard to convince their students to come to the CTE class or to come after school to get into the labs to do their works. And so, but it has been interesting, and it's our first year working under the new Perkins legislation and using the information from our critical local needs assessment team that came in last year to advise us. And so I want to remind everybody that things are different. We've all been through this for a long time, and things are a little bit different now We can't offer a program or spend any money from Perkins if there are not some critical components. One, it has to be a recommendation from that critical local needs assessment. Two, it has to meet labor market demand. And then we are also evaluated on the quality of the program, meaning do the kids complete, do they earn industry certs? And if that's not happening, we have to write an improvement plan or remove the program. So there's a lot of accountability. It's just like everything else, I think now. So based on the critical local needs assessment, we did start a hospitality program at Cedar Key. It's in year 1. And then we also developed a new partnership with the University of Florida and Gateway. I can't remember the full name, sorry. Florida Gateway, sorry. Florida Gateway College for an online program in water treatment and wastewater treatment. And so Mr. Gauss got behind that. We have 6 students enrolled in that. They have their first guest speaker tomorrow coming in. And so we're going to continue to try to see how that goes. Right now, Levy County and Martin County are the only 2 counties that are participating in that online water treatment program. So it's pretty exciting. So anyways, we always bring students in, and tonight we tried to limit things just because of the conditions that we are working in, and we will bring a few more to see you as the year continues this year. So before we get rolling, let me introduce Mr. Myers. He's going to actually kick things off for us tonight and share with you how his students will present to you tonight.
Thank you. Thank you all for having us tonight. When Ms. Jones first approached me about doing a presentation tonight, I was a little concerned of how we're going to bring students in and tools and materials and all of these things to show what we do in carpentry class. And she suggested, well, let's do a video presentation. I thought, hey, that's a great idea. You know, at least with a video, if they make a mistake, we can edit it, we can redo it, we can reshoot it, we can do these things. I said, this is great. Well, we decided, you know, we've got real students and real situations. Let's just keep it real. So before we show the video, I want you to keep in mind, this was unscripted. These students didn't have any clue what was going on until they came in the classroom. And I said, come on, y'all, let's go to the shop. And we went out in the shop and there's cameras set up. What are we doing, Mr. Myers? We're going to shoot a presentation video today. I was even the first young man that I'm speaking with on there. I called him out of a different class. He had no idea what was going on at all, and he came in, and it just really came together. But it's unedited, or not unedited. We had to edit it down for time, but it's unscripted. They didn't know anything about it until we got ready to go. So if you'll turn the sound up, and we'll go ahead.
I'm an instructor. You show throughout the program and show you a little bit of what we learned from class. But with the basis caution, paper, those programs, little class, and those students, I think we're going to caution, if you know about experience, I want that. Well, I really do that. In our high school program, we have an opportunity to earn industry certification with national construction education research or NCTR. NCTR is the industry training standard for construction fields. Students who earn certification are recognized as highly trained and qualified. With me now is Paper and Master. Both of these students are second year high school program It's all fun, okay? You want to get, okay, okay. Well, hey, can you guys show something? Maybe, maybe, all together real quick. Yeah. No wall, there's no wall. So this is what really, I'm involved with, what do, these letters, you know, I'm good, okay? Okay, what those pieces? Those are the, just short, okay? Okay, and most people. First, what does it mean? Wait, let's do a walk. Thank you all for our students and staff. I will be there. How long will you be okay? Last week, we will be 7:15. And remember, be high.
So
Questions about carpentry?
they had some fun, so. Any questions?
I'll just say, as an employer, I mean, it's refreshing to see, because you just, when we have kids who come out of high school, or even our CTE program where we work some students, basic knowledge skills, just read the tape measure. I mean, I was tickled to death that I knew what the X bar was. I mean,
Yes, sir.
I just think, I just may be wrong about this, but he may become CEO of Toys R Us, but I think he's a more valuable person in life, because he knows he's gonna build a home, he's a better homeowner, all of that, whether he uses this or not. And it builds a little bit of what we don't see anymore, just common sense in our kids.
Yes, sir.
It's not a video game, it's real life stuff.
Absolutely, absolutely. We have a lot of girls that come through our program. And we probably have more young ladies than we have guys that come through for whatever reason. And that's, I tell them the same thing. Hey, you don't have to go out and build something with this, but you would have the knowledge. You'll know you can't be taken advantage of if you're building a house or buying a house. You know what to look for, those kind of things. And it really seems to go a long way.
Thank you for what you do.
Well, I know the little boy that was there with the long hair at the beginning, who was a really handsome guy, good hair. Thoroughly loved carpentry class, and the worst day he ever had was finding out he had to move to something else for the wheel program. So he's looking forward to coming back.
Yep.
And apparently I'm building a wood shop at my house.
Well, good for you.
Because that's all he wants to talk about. And that is because of me.
Hey, that's awesome.
And it's made his older brother mad. And that's hilarious.
Oh, that's funny.
It's hilarious.
That's funny.
It's good times.
Good
Good times.
guys. I'll just mention that the oldest, he was our first NCCR certification. He certified in core and carpentry 1. He was the first one in a few years since the program's been back up and running. So real
Yes, he
good.
thinks we need one of those lathes that you have.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
I got 2 of them. Yeah, need all that stuff. So you do a great job.
Thank you,
You do a
Mr.
great job.
Thank you.
I think so.
I appreciate it.
Just don't let me down.
I just asked a question though, because, you know, it just crossed my mind as we were talking. I work with several people who have made a living that are in their 50s and 60s who were in Chiefland and masonry classes and construction classes, you know, 40 years ago. What do we do? Because there's a need. The demand, you know, a block layer, he said when he came out, was the lowest paid man on construction site, now the highest, because there's no one to do it. So how do we do this and expand the program? Because there's a need in our county. And I know how we do it, funding.
You know how we do it.
Yeah.
I know how we do it, but how do we place a focus on it so that the funding goes to where we can expand it and provide more opportunity?
Let me reiterate the importance of what you just said. I have a lot of contractor friends in the industry that I'm connected to. The average age of the construction workers, the guys building houses, swinging hammers and laying blocks, is 40 years old right now. The young people in the last several years just have not been coming into the trades. So it is important to get it out there.
I'm gonna brag on him again. And I don't want him to get the big head. We don't need that, do we, Sean? Okay, so there's a couple. And I'm gonna brag on them too, because they were in that video. The big one was in there and the younger one was in there. Both of them with too much hair, and you need to address that if you can, but that's okay. The little one struggled in school. I'll be honest with you, he hates school because school is hard when you have learning problems. And there was always a conversation of, what are you gonna do when you grow up? And he would talk about things, but he was never really, and there's several of them here, he was never inspired by a teacher until this guy came along. Carson sees he can do things with his hands. He loves it, and that man brought that out in him. He insisted on making his mama this box, and my wife this box pour, but he insisted on making his mother this jewelry box, which meant that I had to contact a friend of mine that has cedar wood, and we had to go get this. And this jewelry box, most people have a jewelry box kind of small. Carson builds a thing that apparently he thinks my wife's a pirate and has lots of gold. But he was so meticulous in building this. And I'd say, son, is that how you do that? Yes, that's what Mr. Myers taught me, and that's the way you do it. Okay, no problem. And it was amazing to see what he could do with his hands. And it was always, as the father of a kid with some learning issues, you sit back and go, what is he going to do when he grows up? I see that he's got something he can do when he grows up. I'll tell you that about that. And let me tell you about the big one. The big one, the other night we're talking to him, and he's one of the 6 in the water treatment thing. And we're on him. And I think between us and Mr. Myers, we'll get him through it. But we're doing our best. The other night he was talking about, he goes, I never thought about it, but I've been helping Mr. Myers when he lets me with those younger kids. And I think I'd like to be a shop teacher one day. And I was like, Myers got you thinking that way? He goes, man, he does a great job. He goes, one day he'll retire. Maybe I need to be there to take his place. And I was like,
Tell me he's got 6 years of full-time documented work experience.
yes, he does. He has to have that very soon. He's got to get that soon. Okay, so this led to and all this comes from CTE, which is amazing, because this is a kid that, he has a twin brother who has got crazy dreams of where he wants to go to college, and that's another story for another day. But the CTE kid, had never thought about going to college until this water treatment thing came along. Mr. Gauss says, you realize that every university has a water treatment facility. And if you get hired on at a university to do the water treatment, you can go to college for free. And he's like, so I could go to college while working and get a degree to be a teacher and go back and teach shop. And I was like, yeah, if that's what you want to do. And then it turned into, I could do this for like 20 years, retire, and then be a teacher. I said, yeah, that's probably the only way you'd be able to afford to live, but that'll work. And so you, sir, have inspired 2 little boys that ain't so little anymore. And thank you.
Thank you.
It's been really fun to watch this program thrive, y'all. We went through, and again, I'm terrible at numbers, but I think we went through 4 teachers in 5 years. So it's really hard to build that continuity in a program and develop those routines that are more than just I'm in the shop.
because there is the certification piece that goes with it. So being able to balance that and build those routines, Mr. Myers has definitely got that down pat. Now he even knows how to work the whole online platform.
Thanks to her.
It's been a learning curve. So yes, we do have a program like carpentry and shop, and we also have the number one demand career field in two of our schools. We have a health academy at Chiefland High School and at Williston High School. At Williston High School, the health academy is under the direction of Angela Pompeo. We were very lucky to recruit her in. I will tell you, finding people to teach these jobs, because you're bringing them in from industry, is very difficult. It's not a traditional teacher certification that allows you to teach these classes. So we were very fortunate. And so she has two students with her tonight, and I did write down their names because I am a little old. But it is, yeah, is that what you said you call her? And Miss Kayla. I'm sorry.
Just come to the podium and
Yeah, let's
reintroduce
take
yourself to
over
us.
for the old lady here and share with them a little bit about the Health Academy at Williston High School.
I'm Angela Pompeo, and we don't have a great presentation like he had. We're going to speak, but I just want to say I'm going into my 9th year here, and I've had a great success rate with my certifications. Most of my students have gotten jobs in the field or have gone on to nursing schools and become RNs or things like that, and they're just going to talk to you a little bit about the program.
Hi, my name is Yesenia. I'm Kaya. We just wrote up something little just to tell you guys. So good afternoon. My name is Yesenia. I've been enrolled in Ms. Pompeo's for her health academy for 4 years, and I'm a senior now. The health academy begins when we're in 9th grade and continues all the way to senior year. We're able to sit for our state licensing exam to be certified nursing assistants or CNAs. As long as we pass the exam. And I'm proud to say that out of the 16 people we had test this year, we had 13 pass. And 2 of us students in our class are actually working with CNAs. This one is too. Through the program, we're taught how to become a healthcare professional, whether we're pursuing nursing degrees, doctor degrees, or any other healthcare degrees. This program helps us to achieve our goals. We learn about our body system's legal and ethical issues and much more topics related to healthcare. One of the most important things that we learn and we study all 4 years is infection control.
So throughout this program, we learn skills like dressing, bathing, ambulating, feeding, which are all just fancy words for like activities that people need to do that we need to help them with. And in our senior year, this is expanded upon so that we can do clinicals, which we didn't have the chance to do as many this year because of COVID. Like at the local nursing home, which is actually where I work at. We also get the opportunity to job shadow, but again, COVID. Yeah, we got the chance to do a few. Like I actually got to assist with like a root canal. So that was interesting. It was fun. So we did have some of that. Being part of the hosted club, we are able to compete in various areas of healthcare skills as well as a list of events to test our knowledge on different healthcare subjects. Ms. Pita taught us how to build a rapport with patients, the importance of respecting all cultures, and how to work with difficult patients, as well as many other professional characteristics we may need. She has passed her nursing knowledge on to us and motivates us to continue striving to get a career in the nursing field. And I can say, like, since I've actually started working in the field, that everything you taught us is helpful for sure. So it's stuff that's actually helpful, like in the real world too, which is really nice. And yeah, she's awesome.
She is awesome. Again, a teacher like so many that goes above and beyond. She actually, it was really hard to get dates for testing because of the, everything that's been happening this year. So Ms. Pompeo and the kids were testing during Christmas break. I think on Tuesday before Christmas, she was at the school testing kids, and we were working with Morgan to make sure the technology was going to work and the printer was going to come on and all of those things. So I allowed them to ask you questions if y'all have any.
How many are in the program now?
Oh,
From 9 to 11, I have a little over 100.
That's great. That's great.
Our goal is to keep that program capped at 100, simply because we don't have 3 teachers teaching in the program like some people have. And so when we send students out to do clinicals, we are limited on how many students we can bring.
Do we have more than want to be in the class now?
I'm sorry?
Is there a need for more now? I mean, would there be more students sign up if we did?
Oh, probably. Like this year, my freshman class, I had 41 students go out.
And I have a stroke because I don't know what to do with 41. Yeah. But I will be retired and y'all will have to figure that out. So,
yeah.
So I'm not, this is, so this is board members' jobs, and what I'm saying is we're gonna look at what's working and what's successful, and we're graduating career or ready.
And
then we have students that we're not servicing because we need to push further to provide those opportunities.
Application process.
Right.
And I will say that's been interesting. I know in Alachua County, that's been a hot topic of discussion because they moved to a lottery system to allow students in. But we are, so far, we've been okay with an application system. It's hard, I will tell you. That first class, well, that second class, health science A and B, it's pretty tough.
I think it should be switched.
I do too, it's hard.
I think it should be an
don't know why the
11th
state
grade
did
class,
that,
and I think that the foundation should be the 10th grade class.
Yeah,
Because, the A and B is a little harder than the other one. And I have them reapply because I can only take 12 in the nursing home at one time, and that's even a lot for our nursing home in this community. So I do make them reapply. And usually my criteria is if they aren't turning in their work, if they have behavior problems, they get OSS, ISS, whatever, if they're on probation, because I tell them I have to be able to trust you. Because when we go in the job, in the healthcare facilities and in the nursing home, I'm not one-on-one with them. They're doing what they need to do. I go around and monitor them, but I have to make sure that I can trust them, that they're not going to do something wrong or things like that. So if I've had to dismiss a couple of students because of these issues. The cell phone is a big one. I had a doctor's office and she called me up and she told me this a couple of years back that she wouldn't put away the cell phone. And I tell them, I think I tell you guys from 9th grade on, you can live without your cell phone for a couple of hours, don't take it in. And she kept bringing it in and the lady wouldn't let us come back next year. So when I tell them, I said, listen, I have limited resources. So you guys have to do the right thing and be on your best behavior. And the majority do. But one bad apple, that makes looks like the whole bunch. But I'm very proud of this class. They did really well. And the girls that missed it, just missed it by question. So it was kind of heartbreaking. But I'm proud of them and they do really well. And it's a good experience for them. And to learn, like she was telling us, she didn't even know she wanted to go into the healthcare when she first started, and now look at her,
I did not want to be a nurse.
Now she's a nurse's aide and she's doing really well. So it's a great program. I love being a nurse. I love passing on everything that I know to them. I started out as a nurse's aide, but back then you didn't have to be certified because I'm quite old, but and I'm just, I love nursing. And I'm glad that, every story I have from my work experience is somehow related to what we do, like ethical issues, things like that. So I think it's a great program.
I'll say I probably scared Ms. Pumpkin. I was really worried about what would happen to us over Christmas and how we would come back after Christmas. So I put pressure on both programs to go ahead and get these kids certified first semester. Normally we don't certify until second semester, so we can spend more time, learning the skills. But when I first asked, she said, no, no. And I was like, we have to, because you know, what happens if we get shut down again? And it's, what, I mean, that's a really, I would think, a horrible thing for our students who spent, you know, 3.5 years getting ready for this, and boom, we can't do it. And it's not just that we can't do it, but Prometric shut down and wouldn't test at all in North America. So
That's fantastic. And I wanted to go back about the program. I know for years, Carol and I have been trying to figure out how to get some Bronson students, because there's Bronson students that want to be in the program, but it's very difficult to work out, you know.
That's hard because we have a lot of nurses that come out of Levy County.
Oh, yeah, yeah. I've had quite a few of my former students that are RNs now and things like that. 'Cause like I said, I'm going in my 9th year, so.
Yeah, you girls are ahead of the game.
Yeah.
Gonna be a nurse? Gonna finish out and be a nurse? Go on
I
nurse?
want to do psychology, so it's just giving me a medical background for all of the things that I like to, yeah.
And they job shadow through a veterinarian office, and I've had a couple that are interested in being a vet. Actually, one's at Santa Fe, and they're vet, I think it's a vet tech program or something. I have one that was telling me today they want to be a surgical tech, and they were asking me about that, and I said, okay, and I gave them the information for CF, because that's where they want to go. And they have a great surgical tech program there. So I have, like, they usually come in from CF and Santa Fe to talk to them about all the health programs that they have there. We have the EMS come in, I have some boys in the class, and one I know definitely wants to do EMS. And the EMS come, they teach us CPR, and they also do like a recruit, they call it, and they let them insert like IVs and the trach and things like that, in the dummies, you know. So they.
You trying to volunteer for that?
I mean, the mannequins, you know. But, so they love that, they think it's a great experience for them. So it's really a very good program.
They're waiting on you for our school visit, Mr.
No doubt. I was a little freaked out for a second.
I would say that the Health Academy program probably has the largest number of partnerships. At our critical local needs assessment, I think we have the largest representation from the construction industry at the table, but we have a lot of partnerships, and that's one of the nice things in our communities. I will say they do go above and beyond to help us get our kids, you know, out there and support us. We may not have fancy advisory boards, but we do a lot of advising and partnership, you know, out in the trenches. Works for us. There's a lot of great data, and I could overwhelm you with it, but it's the healthcare. I just wanted you to see this. There's a lot of new data out there. Of course, I've showed you the fastest growing occupations and the demand list, and you know, of the 50 fastest growing jobs, you know, very few of them require anything beyond an AS degree. Also, most of them are in the healthcare field. This is a new one that they have, and that is the top 20 advertised occupations, and that's registered nurses. And so you can look this up by region, and I think I didn't look up all 40 regions. I went through about 20 of them, and nurses is number one on almost every region. And not that we want them all to be nurses, we tell them that all the time. There's so many opportunities in healthcare. I mean, staying in the office and being health office administrator, you know, it's a huge job too. As a matter of fact, there's a new degree program for that. So I'm not going to spend any more time on those links. I know we're all over time tonight, but if you have any questions for any of our CTE folks,
Thank you.
Thank you.
Great job.
Great job.
I'm going to walk out with them.
Thank you, Ms.
And the old mule did a good job again tonight.
Messed up their names. Their goals. I can't.
Has everyone had a chance to look over the minutes? Are there any changes that need to be done?
Make a motion to approve the minutes.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to approve the minutes from January 26th meeting. Any discussion? Any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion Motion carries. We'll now move on to our consent agenda. Are there anything other than the one change you told me? Has everyone had a chance to read over it? We're gonna mix it up tonight. We're gonna start tonight with Mrs. Boyle on the far end.
All my questions have been answered, sir. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Mrs. Brookins, you appear to have words for
I
us.
see some great teachers retiring and entering in Rob and some leaving us. I tell you what, I don't know what's gonna happen to our district in 24. Mr. Coward, I just want you to be aware. There'll be some good folks. 24, we're gonna just have it's gonna be a swoop. And also, Miss Webster, she's taking the whole year off. Is there, she's personal leave, but she's sick or anything? Is that okay?
She's, yes, gonna need some extended leave, so to recover. So,
Oh, okay.
yes, ma'am.
All right, I think everything else has been answered. That's all. Thank you.
Mr. Etheridge? Ms. Clemency, all mine have been answered too. This time I'll entertain a motion to adopt accept the consent agenda. Have a motion, do I hear a second?
Second.
A motion and a second. All those in favor? Any opposed? Motion carries. We'll now move over to the superintendent. Any comments, recommendations?
Yes, sir. Beast Feast, so went off, so was very nice to get back together, to have people there and to be able to support our school's foundation who do so many things for us. So, and just to kind of give you guys a little update on where things were. So through sponsorships, cake auction, ticket sales, and 50/50, we grossed a little over, just shy of $18,000. So for our school's foundation, and netted about just a little bit over $16,000, which we were probably about half to 2/3 on our normal attendance. So, which if you look back the last couple of years, we were only about $800 off of last year and a couple thousand off 2 years ago. So kudos to all the board members through the foundation and putting that on, and our cooks and everything that goes to bring that. So Mr. Etheridge, we sure appreciate always letting us come there. So I think other than the rain, so that I think with the change in the season, that was a nice opportunity for us to get together. So one other thing, so just to put on your radar, so we do have Swanee River Fair coming up. So I do have a list of animals of where we bought. So would love for us to continue participation, which I'm assuming that's where we will go with that. So, but just wanted to put that on your radar. So we've got the list on which animals. So we purchased a Williston animal last year. So, but I've got the breakdown, and I'll make sure and email everybody a copy of what we've done in past years. So a couple more things. So a shout out to our co-op. Our co-op gave scholarships for people to go back to school, and one of our employees took advantage of it. So she's working on some mastery level classes. So Miss Foshi over at Bronson Middle High School. So saw this. So
Yeah, but she had to come where the good school is.
So
come where she could learn. Bronson.
We appreciate the co-op, so, and them supporting some of our employees that are going back and furthering their education. So thought this was just a positive thing. And then the last thing is we need to get some dates on the calendar for Master Board. So if you could break out your calendars and kind of see, the first would be an 8-hour day. So we're going to be here.
8 hours.
Good Lord.
Oh.
And then it would be three 4-hour days. So would a Friday?
Did you say the first one is an 8-hour and then 3 4 hours?
That's correct. It's a total of 20 hours for Master Board. So, and I've was looking here. So would Friday, March 12th?
Oh, Fridays are not good.
Fridays are not good. Okay.
Friday's a bad day.
Fridays are bad
day.
But you don't need all of it, right?
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's an 8-hour day.
So, and that is, so we need to, we've committed to this, so we have to be there. So in attendance. So,
Fridays are terrible. Fridays and Mondays are terrible days
Fridays
for
and
me.
Mondays are terrible. Okay, all right.
Now, I don't know about anybody else but me. But I can act like Rick Turner and go, hey, got 4 hours I can miss in there. I'm gonna take those hours.
Okay. How about March 11th? That's a Thursday.
I'm open that day. Y'all open?
So maybe.
How many we have?
Do we?
I'll make it work however we gotta do.
Would it be
I
possible?
mean, is this like a March thing? We've never done it in March before.
So, well, we've got 4 days that we've got to pick. So, I mean, no, we don't have to. So that's why I'm this is your time. If we need
I don't
to,
know, because the fair's gonna fall in that time also.
so the 17th is a sale day. So that's the week preceding. So, so would you prefer to push into April?
You
Is that
said
what I'm
March is
hearing?
your watermelon time. That's tough for you.
April's wonderful.
April
But I'm
might
not, I'm just,
Let's move to April and just try some few days.
Okay. All right.
if that's possible.
Would it be possible to give us 24 hours to go home and read our various calendars? Maybe
Of course.
email back
Of
and forth?
course. Can we? So
Let's
let's.
throw out some dates and do the
Yeah.
possibles, yeah.
See what's possible. Because I'm sitting here going, I don't know this day, honestly.
Okay. Let's look at the, we won't do April Fool's Day, but like the 8th, 15th, 22nd. So look at your calendars there and see if those days are available, and then I'll shoot. Okay. The 22nd, the 8th, well, that's a Friday, and the Fridays are bad for.
I'm 8th and 22, I'm good.
8 and
Would you
22.
like me to
April?
ask her for a Saturday?
No.
Yeah. I mean, I don't want to, but I have a thought.
Okay.
I'll say no.
No.
I gotta look at my calendar.
Look at your
I gotta look
calendar.
at my calendar.
Okay, so, thank you. So we need to get these moving because dates are starting to fill up on them. So that's why. So, and then last thing, so, this, on Thursday night is, Bronson Middle High School. So I don't want to steal Mr. Asbell's thunder. So, but the junior journey. So, piggybacking off, the Chiefland Middle High School and their junior night. So Ms. Corbin, the graduation coach over there, does a fabulous job. So got quite a bit of information that's coming out. So of Bronson Middle High School for that process, and appreciate them. So, and then the last thing, and I'm done, is that tonight is districts are going on basketball in Bronson. So, and just to kind of share with you, we had a student in Williston who in a matter of days lost his father and his grandfather. And this student is a basketball player. And we know that sometimes things get portrayed and put out about that may not be all the way vetted. So in the media, this student, so our team was playing, Williston team was playing over at North Marion last Friday night, their home night, their senior night, back and forth game down the wire. Williston went up with under a minute to go. North Marion came back, hit a shot. Within the last 5 seconds, Isaac Williams scored a basket to win the game for Williston. And they came across the announcement and kind of shared about how he had lost his grandfather and his father. And he got a standing ovation. And kind of get chills thinking about that when somebody's had a rough time. So, and just seeing you're battling each other on the court, but when it's all over, you come together and show good sportsmanship. So tip of the cap to North Marion on celebrating Mr. Williams and the Red Devil basketball team. So with that, I believe I'm finished.
Thank you, Mr. Superintendent. I'm going to start different tonight. I'm going to go first because I don't have much, but I want to first start this way. I lack the professionalism I should have had earlier. I lost patience, and that is no way for a chairman to act. But I was taught through people much smarter than me and with much more patience and much more professionality than I ever had. And the chairman says, okay, it's over. I appreciate the passion of folks coming forward. They need to have the ability to speak, but we also have to have the ability for everyone to address this board. I lost my patience and I apologize for that, but I will never apologize for being a person that believes in these are the rules, this is what we have laid out. And the point I was trying to make is the chairman of the board, it's my job to lay out those rules, and it's your job to follow those rules. And that's the way it works. And I welcome that gentleman that was here to come back at any time. But when I say we're allowing each individual 5 minutes to speak, that was where I lost my patience. I said what I said. I know what I said. I did not say you can address it because I didn't want to hear other people. It's because we want to hear as many people speak. And this board does have business it has to get to, and there has to be votes and decisions made by the board. Once again, we want anyone and everyone to come forward, and I want to apologize for losing my patience, but I felt at that moment we needed to restore that we need to be in order in this place. And if I upset anyone or that bothered anyone, I apologize. But as your chairman, I feel it is important that we follow this to allow the business of this board to occur. That being said, I want to move on to big news. Ordinarily, the Bronson FFA alumni sponsors a food fest at the end of February during National FFA Week. I like to think it's more in celebration of my birthday, but that's okay. They want to call it FFA Week. This year we're doing away with that just because of the COVID protocols and all that good stuff. So we will be having a low country boil. It is going to be kind of a drive-through event in downtown Bronson, Florida at the Cameron Asphalt Insurance Agency. He's a good guy. And you're just going to make a loop. These tickets cost $20 a piece, and see right there. And it goes to fund the FFA scholarship, and it's going to be a heck of a time. We'll also have, on one side of the road, you'll pick up your to-go boxes of shrimp, sausage, potatoes, and corn. We have done a test run, and the box weighs roughly 1.5 pounds, and it's not just corn and potatoes making that 1.5 pounds. There's plenty of shrimp in there. And so we look forward to a good time because we still want to support these kids, and we also like to get with people during this time. You know, that's something we forget. We've lost the ability to be with people. If you look at it on a national scale, we've lost the ability to be with each other, and we can't necessarily do it the way we've always done it. We enjoy having you come around. So if anybody wants a ticket, they're $20 in advance. They're limited to 200 meals. But if you want a ticket, you can pick them up. I got some. FFA members have some. FFA alumni members have some. Hardware stores selling them. You just let me know and I'll get you a ticket. Okay? As long as you give me $20, I'll get you a ticket. And that's 26th. All I have.
February 26th.
February 26th. We start serving meals 5:30, I believe. Just don't come before 5:30 expecting a meal. I'll say that because I can't remember if it's 5:30 or 6, but I think it's 5:30. And we're going to see how this turns out. This may become the thing we do. We may just go into business and competition for the gathering table. I don't know.
Or maybe if you just come quicker.
Just come to the gathering table, right? Okay. And that's all I have. Ms. Clemency.
I don't have much tonight, other than if you turn on the news and watch anything at all right now, the big topic of conversation is school opening, unions versus the government. And I know in hindsight, we're probably going to look back during this time and say, why didn't we do this? Or we should have done that. But I'm just very proud of Levy County and that we all, the teachers, the district, all of it, everyone has put the children first. And we've been able to play sports, and you look across the country in Chicago, California, New York, and these children have not been in a classroom since February, March. And I did go to Yankeetown, step in a couple of classrooms, and you see the kids doing hands-on germination, pollination, water cycle, learning that way. You look at Ricky Richardson and her presentation with the hands-on, and I'm so proud of how we handled this pandemic. So.
Absolutely. I'm like you. I watch the news and I'm fascinated where is it? San Francisco's having to sue the school district to allow the kids to go back. And I also was reading there's a study on how it's mentally affecting, psychologically affecting so many kids that they're not with their peers. It's really sad.
Our teachers coming in and showing up and they're heroes for our children.
Absolutely. Thank you, Ms. Clemency. Mr. Everett?
I have 3 quick things. I'm not going to miss an opportunity. I've done it since we started COVID. think at the last board meeting or board meeting before, I think we said we could get the data, how many transmissions we've had from student positives to quarantines. And I know we've made some progression about the number of days that they're out, but I mean, it brought up my attention today, the hours we're talking about because of disciplinary actions. But you know, I have a child home now for the first time, and then I hear stories from parents that had 3 times. And that classroom is important, and I just want to make sure that we're making all our decisions based off the science as we learn it. And it doesn't look like to me we're seeing very many transmissions from student to student. And as we go forward with the health department and everybody else as we learn and everybody's getting vaccinated and we're moving forward through it, that we hopefully can lessen and lessen and lessen the number of days that those students are absent from the classroom. Yes, sir. And I'll say that at the next board meeting too. Yes, sir. So the Beast Feast was great the other night. That was one of those things, you know, 3 o'clock in the afternoon, Melissa walked up and we were under tornado warning, and I sit on pins and needles all night. We got the 5 inches of rain we needed, but it was a little touch and go. I think I told Miss Tammy that I was a little nervous with the lightning storm. That would have been a very long, traumatic story. Like, when it hit our building, so all the prayers that night to the good Lord to keep him away. He did. Appreciate that. The weather was good, not 110 degrees, and the food was good. Also, probably most people won't know, if you will, but Jamie Baker was a football coach in Williston for a long time in Williston, and his father, Alan Baker, came up and helped mostly through that whole tenure. He passed last Tuesday, and he donated a lot of time to our community, and I just want to be recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Etheridge. Mrs. Brickett?
Well, just once again, it's amazing every single day, you know, going back to Chiefland School, that progress. And it's just, we went on campus the other day and walking through, they are just, that crew is just so fast, and everything they're doing it is like, wow. They're just, I can't believe the progress that they're doing with that school. It's just, I think it's going to be quicker than, you know, the deadline. I really, really do. They're doing an amazing job, and just such a nice group to work with, and easy, and colors, and the architect, and it's very pleasant experience. It really, really is. So, you know, anytime y'all are over there, please stop by. It's great. And then I know that sometimes we just get so much negativity, and then on TV 20, you know, parents and students just going and saying negative things about our teachers or substitutes. I think that I wish there's a way that we could just follow up with the media that the investigation was done, and there's nothing negative proven against our substitutes and our schools. If we could follow up on that.
That did make the news. They do have a report that
they're going to come back and say that.
That's on their website today. That,
Okay.
I'll do a story that it was found.
But it was nothing wrong with our substitute and our schools, because I think they're doing a very good job, and I hate it when it's just the negative stuff that's out there. So I'm glad to hear that. Thank you. I didn't know that. And then thanks again to Mr. Etheridge for everything and the location, because it was a wonderful event. And everybody did a great job, a lot of work to pull all that together.
I forgot to bring this up.
Mm-hmm.
You talked about thanking. I want to also thank Mr. Etheridge. Okay, for years I had to be with the clam soup dipping, and he has fantastically replaced Mr. Philpott, because for the first time ever dishing out the cups, none was spilled on my hand. Philpott, I think he did it on purpose to put that hot soup on my hand. So thank you, Mr. Etheridge. Were you done?
I'm done.
All right, thank you, Mrs. Brickett. Mrs. Boyle.
Beast Feast was great. It was nice to be a part of you serving back there and along the table. It was a lot of fun. I enjoyed it. I will also echo what Mr. Etheridge said about the data from the health department about the quarantines. And it is affecting the kids, even the kids that are coming back. In Cedar Key, the younger kids did an art mural, like a quilt, and they each wrote their feelings, you know, about COVID. And there were quite a few that said sad and depressed and wanted to be able to sit next to my friend. And it's huge, it's up on the wall, but when you just stop a minute and you look at all that, we are very fortunate to be back in brick and mortar.
But I still think we have a long way to go with the quarantining and that aspect. Not much new in Cedar Key. Softball, baseball practice has started, so the games are coming up week after next. And getting the fields ready. Next Friday on the 19th, I'll be taking 4 of the FFA students around on a golf cart to the local community and let them bring their information about the animal and talk to the local business owners, and maybe they can get some bucks. So that's planned for the 19th. I'm looking forward to that. And one of the moms has offered her golf cart. They call it the Cadillac, so we should have fun.
Awesome.
And that's all I have.
Thank you, ma'am.
Yes, one thing, the Beast Feast, and I think maybe somebody did, but that thing never happens without the maintenance department. There's a lot of work goes in before and after. We don't see those people. And I see them before and after, and it doesn't happen without nobody. I thank Mr. Breeden, but they do a lot to help with the whole event, so.
I think it's also great to flip when they happen, that February for the outdoor thing. I don't know who the genius was behind that, but that's brilliant.
We put up a huge fan just to do the hot time, and we didn't get to use it. Anyway, I'm good with it everywhere.
Anything else?
Executive session.
We will now, if there's no further business, we'll adjourn to executive session.